Okay, I'm going to hand over to Dirk now. Thank you, Dirk, for joining us today. I'm leaving it with you.
Thank you very much, Madeline. And hello, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today. First, I hope you are all doing well and your families are doing well. And I do appreciate you taking some time out from, I know, your very busy lives and your busy work and personal lives to attend this webinar today. I'm extremely excited to be working with the Trustlink team. As you heard from the history, we have a long time together that we've been working both with Sterling Commerce and Trustlink, and now IBM and Trustlink. So they are great partners and great friends to me personally and to our business. So I appreciate the invitation to be with you today to talk about actually one of my favorite topics, which is managed file transfer, and in particular our visibility and governance capabilities around managed file transfer. And let's go ahead and move to the next slide. Before we get into some of the details around IBM Sterling Control Center, I think it is helpful to set some context around what all is taking place in the marketplace with our customers, the customers that we talk to on a regular basis. And there are some very important facts, I think, that need to be stated to, again, set some context around visibility and governance. One notable dimension that we see taking place in the market is around just this rapid increase of volume, both of file sizes, the amount of data that is actually being moved between different systems and between customers and their customers and suppliers and partners. So the size of the files, the amount of data is increasing rapidly. At the same time, there are all sorts of new emerging use cases where file transfer now is becoming still the predominant way that integration takes place. So that 55%, that actually represents the percentage of the different integrations that take place between systems. It might be a surprise to you, but that's still over half of that, 55% of it is still accomplished through the movement of files. The second part of that is that the amount of data, and an important point, high value data. Keep that in mind, because even a single file, maybe even a small file, just a few 100 bytes of data contained within a file, that can contain mission critical information, high value information. It could be tax related information. It could be payment information. It could be medical information. It could be a variety of different things. So the important point here is that these files, whether they're small or large, are moving very important information between these different systems. And the last piece of this is that we've seen a proliferation, especially with our customers that are using our Sterling Connect Direct product. They are bringing up new instances of Connect Direct to support new projects and new applications. So these three things kind of come together to converge into a problem that our customers are looking to solve. And visibility and governance are really the drivers on how we can help customers solve some of those challenges. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. So when you look at this and break it down, what are the things that our customers are considering on why they are exploring transactional visibility capabilities around managed file transfer? So I'll start with those three circles that you see, and then we'll talk about how they converge. One thing is clear is that our customers are looking for ways to maximize team productivity. And especially in this new COVID-19 world in which we find ourselves, where there are people that are now working from home, they're trying to juggle multiple things, and perhaps that's true for some of you on this call. You're looking for for ways that you can maximize your productivity and still balance all of the other things that are going on in your life. So maximizing that productivity is a driver that leads to the need for more visibility around file transfer. The second area of focus up at the top is around mitigating risk. And many of our customers around the globe, and this is true in South Africa as well, you are in highly regulated industries, you're in financial services, you're in banking, you're in government. So it's vital that you have the controls in place to ensure that you are doing everything that you can to mitigate risks, to drive out the possibility that an event could occur, a breach, or something like that would introduce risk to your organization, to your company, and expose your customers and your partners and suppliers to risk as well. And then the last piece of this is and I believe this is true for our customers in South Africa as well, you're always looking for ways that you can save time, that you probably aren't getting a whole lot of new resources to go tackle a new problem or a new project. So you're looking for ways that you can save time so you can really, again, going back to the productivity, maximize the resources that you have and allow them to not just keep things running, but allow them to focus on new projects, new initiatives, new areas where you're trying to expand your business. So these three things come together in the middle of the circles. And again, these are driving the need for our customers to look for some new ways. They can automate things that maybe they are doing manually or automating things that are taking a lot of time on the part of some person that has to go do something. And then it's increasing the need for, because of that high value information that's being transferred through these files, it's vital that you have the right solutions and the right tools in place to give you that end-to-end visibility over all of that data movement that's taking place. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. Okay, so how can Control Center help address some of these challenges? We actually have a lot of history with Control Center. Although it's been in our portfolio for a number of years, we continue to invest heavily in this particular part of our portfolio because of the reasons that we've been talking about so far, that there are still new volumes, new workloads, new projects where file transfer becomes key. So it becomes even more self-apparent that you need to have the right solutions in place that can give your IT staff as well as line of business users, even someone that's responsible for maintaining a relationship with one of your customers or partners. The goal here is to provide that, and I know it's a slightly overused phrase, that single pane of glass, one screen where you can basically have a view over all of this different type of file movement that's taking place. And why you want that? One is obviously you want to ensure that those key business processes are working and that there are no issues, but you're also gaining insights from all of that different information that's flowing between these systems. And you need ways to correlate all of this information and aggregate information. No one has time, and I believe this is true for each of you, no one has time to go in and look at hundreds or thousands of log files and try to correlate what happened or wait for that phone call from a customer that they didn't receive a particular file. So you need tools to make that simpler for you, so you're not spending a lot of time troubleshooting or trying to isolate where a problem occurred. And Control Center can provide those capabilities for you, so you're not doing all of that, those manual tasks to accomplish a similar thing. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, so let's kind of break this down into some key areas of capabilities that we deliver within Control Center. So we built Control Center as truly a purpose-built solution that solves use cases around managed file transfer and B2B integration. We recognize that there are many different types of system management tools, other tools that you can be using to scrape logs. There are different console solutions that can be used to monitor the health of servers or applications inside your enterprise. But with Control Center, we really took a different approach. We built this from the ground up. It started with our Connect Direct product and then expanded to other IBM B2B and managed file transfer solutions. It's really it's designed to provide that visibility and governance and control specifically around B2B and managed file transfer. And we do that in four key areas within Control Center. One of the most important aspects that Control Center provides is what we call the track and trace capability. So if an IT user or an administrator or an operator needs to go and check to see what happened with a particular business process or what happened with a particular file transfer, Control Center provides very simple, intuitive, but very powerful ways that you can basically track what happened to a particular file or file transfer. Just like we go out and we maybe order something online and we want to get information on shipping information to see when the package might arrive at our home or at our office. It's very similar with Control Center. You can put in the information that you have, or if you know the file name that you're looking for, you can very easily key that in, and then Control Center will provide the detailed information for you so that you have those full track and trace capabilities. Another important aspect of Control Center is around the integration and automation capabilities that we deliver truly out of the box with Control Center. From an integration perspective, we know that you use a variety of solutions, hopefully a lot of IBM Sterling, such as File Gateway or our Connect Direct product or B2B Integrator product. But the approach that we've taken with Control Center is to ensure that we can definitely offer monitoring for those out-of-the-box solutions, but we know that that's not all of it, that you have other solutions, you have other applications, that you need that integration with Control Center so you have that true end-to-end visibility. So from the very beginning, we built Control Center to be able to integrate with other types of solutions, whether it's other system management solutions or very tight custom integration with another application. We provide those capabilities, and we have extensive APIs and extensive SDK, software developer kits, that can be used either by a customer directly or working with one of our partners, trusted partners like Trustlink. Those APIs and SDKs can be leveraged to truly integrate with the different types of systems and applications that you need. And the last piece of this is around automation. As we established early on, you need to maximize the people that you have available to you. So you're looking for ways to drive out manual processing and do more automated. That's a key area that Control Center can help. So rather than reacting after the fact that a file transfer didn't occur as scheduled, Control Center, using its business rule logic, can basically be watching that file transfer on your behalf. And if it sees that that file transfer is at risk of not completing on time, it can, through an automated rules engine, alert someone that something is at risk of not happening. It could be one of those high value files, and then Control Center can automate that where you're in a more proactive role versus a reactive role. The third area I would want to mention, lots of data obviously is moving through these different systems, different applications, and our customers need insights, both from a historical perspective to look at patterns to see what volumes have looked like, which can be very helpful from a capacity planning perspective. You also need different types of analytics to provide even greater insights into events that have occurred or troubleshooting issues that might occur. For example, if a file if a file transfer does fail for some reason, you, rather than again going back and looking at lots of different logs and trying to interpret what happened, wouldn't it be great if you could just run a report and you could see fully and with great detail what actually took place? That would help you from a troubleshooting perspective. And the last area that Control Center really focuses on, again, due to the nature of the solution being used extensively within regulated industries and even non-regulated industries. This is important to everyone, that you have the right controls in place. We provide many out-of-the-box security reports as well. So you really have full insight, you have full audit trails. For example, in our Connect Direct solution, many of our customers have very tight controls in place where only authorized persons can make a configuration change. The good news is that Control Center can provide very detailed audit information as well. So you know exactly who made a change, when they did that, the date and time, what was the previous value, what did they change it to. So it's really providing that comprehensive auditing capabilities, again, using that single pane of glass to give that full control over the entire B2B and managed file transfer environment. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, this is, I know, a lot of words, and we've touched on a few of these things, but just to go just a little bit deeper into some of the key capabilities, we've talked about the track and trace capabilities. We worked a lot with customers on the whole user experience around track and trace, because what we found, and I believe this will be true for all of you, is that most of us are very comfortable and familiar with going into a search box, or like in our web browser, and just start typing in words and then getting different types of search results and different search queries that can be completed automatically for you. So we kind of took that approach with Control Center as well, where you can use a very simple free text search capability, start typing in information, click on the search button, and you can find the information that you're seeking. We've talked about some about the analytics and reporting. We include within Control Center an entire set of capabilities of our Cognos business intelligence capabilities. We bundle that in with Control Center. So you get a very powerful reporting solution that you can leverage with Control Center. And we provide many out-of-the-box reports that can be used, and they can be customized as well. Or you can, if you're so inclined, if there's something that maybe you'd like to see that we don't provide out of the box, there are extensive reporting capabilities that can be used to leverage, to create some custom reports as well. We've talked about the integration aspects as well. We continue to evolve the APIs that we make available, again, recognizing that an API strategy is vital to many of our customers. So our latest set of APIs that we make available for Control Center are an entire set of RESTful APIs, which complement the Java APIs that we previously had. So the whole idea around exposing these APIs is, one, it allows you to extend the product in ways that maybe we don't necessarily provide out of the box. And it allows you to do more customization and leveraging, again, a business partner like Trustlink. Every customer is slightly unique, so you have some different requirements, or you might want to build a custom integration between Control Center and maybe a competitive solution that's not an IBM solution. Maybe it's a Microsoft solution, for example. So using the APIs with Control Center, you can build those types of integrations. Clearly, being able to monitor the health of the environment is important, whether you're monitoring an instance of Connect Direct, or you're monitoring one of our gateway solutions, or the different adapters that are in our gateways. Maybe you want to closely monitor the SFTP adapters within File Gateway, for example. Control Center is constantly looking at that and providing, again, a dashboard view so you can immediately see if there's an issue and be able to drill down into that to do some troubleshooting if you detect some form of an issue. The fifth area I would mention is around rules, and you see these letters SLCs that stands for service level criteria. This is perhaps one of the most powerful set of capabilities that we deliver within Control Center. It provides a very simple but powerful way that either an IT user or even a business user can easily set up a new rule within Control Center. So you can look for a certain set of criteria that you want to have Control Center watch for, and then you can specify what type of action you want Control Center to take. And the beauty of this is it's a very simple, intuitive user interface that we make available to end users. So it's a matter of even just right-clicking on something contained within Control Center, and then having Control Center auto-populate a rule that you can then complete and potentially put into production. We do recognize that many of our customers, they want to put some controls in place where you don't necessarily want every end user creating a lot of different types of alerts and these different rules. So there's a whole workflow engine included within Control Center as well. So the IT team can put the right controls in place and governance over it, so you don't have a lot of rules getting created that you don't have the right controls over. And the last piece of this, we're spend a little bit of time at the end of today's presentation, especially for our Connect Direct customers. We have customers that have many instances of Connect Direct often, whether it's in the tens or hundreds or thousands. So being able to manage that type of Connect Direct estate is something that's a very important part of Control Center as well. And we'll spend a few minutes on that at the end of today's session. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. Okay, I know we have some technical folks on our call today, so I did want to spend just a little bit of time to help you visualize what the architecture looks like. So you see within the blue box up at the top of the slide, those are the basic components contained within Control Center. There's clearly an engine and the rules engine that we provide, that kind of think of it kind of as the brains of Control Center and all the things that it does. It does rely on a database as well. We bundle a database directly with Control Center. I've mentioned previously that we provide the reporting and analytics by bundling in some of the Cognos capabilities. And we have different user interfaces as well, different types of web consoles, one that's geared a bit more to an IT user and one that's geared more to a line of business user using the web console. Underneath all of that, those are the different types of solutions that can be monitored with Control Center. Clearly, the IBM Sterling Managed File Transfer portfolio, like Connect Direct and File Gateway, those are out-of-the-box integrations that we provide. Control Center can also integrate with some of our other solutions. On the gateway side, you see B2B Integrator. And we also can monitor some of the file transfer solutions in other parts of IBM, such as MQ Managed File Transfer, which is within the IBM Hybrid Cloud organization. And then the last piece of that is that we can monitor even solutions that are not IBM solutions. So it could be a third-party FTP server. It could be a competitive file transfer product. It could be something that you have built yourself, a homegrown type file transfer solution. So again, using those APIs that I've mentioned a couple of times now, you can build, or a partner like Trustlink can help you build integrations to these different other non-IBM solutions. Let's go ahead and advance to the next slide. So what actually happens then? So you can kind of visualize as files are moving, maybe between Connect Direct nodes or between one of your customers using SFTP to file gateway. So it's collecting lots of different types of events, different activities, different file transfers that are taking place. So what Control Center is doing is basically consolidating and normalizing all of that data to consolidate it into the single database that provides the foundational piece for some of the things that we do from a reporting perspective, as well as from a rules, SLA management perspective. So we're collating all of this different information from all these different systems and relying on the database that we provide within Control Center to collect and store that information. At the same time, that engine that we talked about previously, the brains behind Control Center, it's watching for things to happen because you, the IT team or the business side, you set up these different things that you want Control Center to be looking for. Maybe it's a critical file transfer from a certain partner that needs to happen at a certain time. You want Control Center to be watching for those types of things, and that's how it does that by collecting the information and then applying that to this rules engine that we've been talking about. And of course, the power of this is the possibilities are truly endless, where it could be Connect Direct instances or the gateways or other solutions like an FTP server that we talked about previously. So it's very important to think of Control Center, again, not just as a system management tool. You probably have plenty of those that you're using today, and we can certainly integrate with those. But again, I go back to my previous comment. This solution is purpose-built to really help around managed file transfer and B2B use cases. Let's go ahead and advance to the next slide. As I mentioned, I wanted to wrap up my formal remarks and talk about another aspect of Control Center. We've had great success through the many years, going on 30 plus years now with our Connect Direct solution. And quite honestly, some of our customers in South Africa were some of the earliest adopters of the Connect Direct technology, and the Trustlink team has done a great job of continuing to support and expand Connect Direct within South Africa. But at the same time, managing a large Connect Direct environment can sometimes be a little bit time consuming, can be a little tricky. It could be difficult to perhaps maintain all the patch releases and updating to new releases of Connect Direct. So if you have one or two, that's pretty straightforward. But imagine if you have several Connect Direct nodes, or imagine you have 100 or even 1,000 Connect Direct nodes. And we do have customers that have that size of Connect Direct estate. So enter Sterling Control Center Director. This is a brand new offering. We announced it and delivered it towards the end of last year. It's a brand new offering that really tackles some of those challenges with managing a large Connect Direct estate. And I'm very excited about it. Some of the key things that you can do with Sterling Control Center Director is to remove some of the complexities of maintaining a Connect Direct environment. So applying patches or applying fix packs, or even applying a new major release of Connect Direct, let's be honest, sometimes that can take time, and you have to build detailed plans on how you want to do that and the timelines to do that, schedule outages, and so forth. So the approach we've taken with Control Center Director is to dramatically simplify that, reduce the amount of time, reduce the amount of effort, and really drive that through a very modern, very simple user experience. You see an example of the screenshot on the slide. So we really wanted to tackle this problem and solve it for our customers in a very simple and elegant way, and take something that, again, could take hours, even weeks or months to complete an upgrade of your entire Connect Direct estate. We can flip that over and convert that into minutes to to dramatically reduce that amount of time. Let's go ahead and move to the next slide. And I do want to share a little bit more on that. The key drivers behind Control Center Director, again, is one of them is lowering costs. And costs, I mean the amount of time. Time is extremely valuable for your IT staff, and the amount of time they would need to take to plan and execute an upgrade of a Connect Direct environment could be extensive. So we want to help clients reduce the costs associated with maintaining that environment. We also want to help remove some of the manual processes and automate more of that. So let Control Center do that rather than having someone come in on the weekend and do an upgrade and take time out of their busy day, even their busy personal time, to do a Connect Direct upgrade. Control Center Director can handle that. And the last piece of it is that for some customers, the fact that maintaining a Connect Direct environment could be somewhat time consuming, this can really help reduce those barriers. So as customers look to expand their usage of Connect Direct, Director can actually help remove some of those barriers that were keeping customers from expanding just because of the amount of time required to maintain the environment. Let's go ahead and move to the last slide, Madeline. And just a little bit, and we would be glad to work with you more closely and even help you build out an ROI. But we've worked with a number of large Connect Direct customers that have some of these challenges that we've been describing, and help them do an analysis of a before and after state. Where before, when you consider the amount of time required to even update a single node or a single instance of Connect Direct, you start then extrapolating the number of hours required, the number of FTEs required, and the amount of the costs in US dollars. To do that, you start seeing some pretty large numbers there. So that's the before state. And the after state, again, based on some work that we did with several customers, including some of our customers in the early access program, we were able to help them potentially drive down 92% of that time that they were spending managing that Connect Direct estate. So the numbers are very compelling. We would be glad to work with you. We would support our Trustlink colleagues as well, where we could do a deeper dive into this and look at your particular case and see what the numbers might look like in your unique situations. And with that, Madeline, I think I will turn it back to you for the next part of our webinar.
Thank you, Dirk. I can definitely see that Control Center can add a lot of value to your MFT and B2B environment, especially now that we're all working remotely. To have those capabilities and functionalities at your fingertips can be very helpful. We're gonna quickly show you a short video, and then we'll move to our panel discussion.
Every man and every woman in every company everywhere in the world, every manufacturing plant, every warehouse, every retailer, every truck, train, ship, and port, every hospital, pharmaceutical company, insurer, and bank, all the myriad actors and actions of every process in every industry across our busy, globalized world, all connected. One thing is at the heart of every process: information. Without efficient exchange of information, multi-enterprise processes grind to a halt. But it doesn't have to be this way. All connected, sharing information. All that complexity made simple. All your customers happy. B2B Integration Solutions by IBM.
Okay, Igmar, I'm going to start with you. Can you please tell me or give me information about what you find is the typical issues that Trustlink and also our customers have on a day-to-day basis in terms of their file transfer environment?
Thank you, Madeline. It is our experience, and I think it's a shared experience, that that our customers also has, that file transfers to and from the local banks are generally more complex. And there are many reasons for this. Banks typically require specific file formats, which could require some mapping to be done first. There's also logical checks that needs to take place, and that could lead to file failures. And of course, there's perimeter security that are changed from time to time, and that in turn could also lead to files failing. In general, also payments and collections that represent some of the flows between the corporates and banks or represent business critical information. And that's also creates urgency where cut-off times at banks affect this, where issues and failures need to be resolved very quickly in order to still be able to make those payments happen. And with so many variables and factors to consider, proper monitoring of these environments does make a lot of sense. And it is, from our perspective, really important to have that in place.
Thank you, Igmar. I'm going to ask Michael to ask his questions to Dirk. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Madeleine. So just talking about this, the current pandemic that's affected us in South Africa, and it's changed the way that companies actually do monitoring, and how this has affected business around everything that we do. Me as a technical person, companies need to change from more reactive monitoring to more proactive monitoring. And from the sounds of a control center gives us that capability to do more proactive monitoring around our solutions. So with that said, Dirk, considering that the current pandemic and what we've discussed around monitoring, how would you envision the control center could assist in the identification and remediation of issues before raised by a customer, and how would this benefit the customer?
I appreciate that question, Michael. I agree with the way you've framed the question around proactive versus reactive, and especially putting it in the context of what's happening with COVID-19. So as I mentioned previously, we're just working differently now. Many of us are working full-time from our homes. We're balancing other things that are happening in our homes. We have families and children, some children that are going to school virtually from their home environment. So it becomes evident that the days that we're sitting at our desk for 8-9 hours and staring at a computer screen for the most part, it's just different now. So technology can really help change the game, I think, there, where rather than spending inordinate amount of time reacting, as you described it, to take those hours to look at logs, logging into different servers, trying to correlate timestamps to see what took place, Control Center and the monitoring aspects of it really can be very helpful in this new way that we're working. So rather than carving out time to look or resolve a problem, wouldn't it be great if you could be proactive and have some technology give you an early warning before you're dealing with a crisis, before you're dealing with that phone call from a customer? Wouldn't it be great if you had an early warning type system that Control Center can provide, so you can start taking some steps before something goes wrong? And maybe there's a legitimate reason why something hasn't happened yet, but you're, again, not in a crisis mode. You're in a more relaxed, proactive role where you're addressing a problem before it even happens.
Well, it sounds like it really could benefit a company. Sticking with the monitoring, a lot of companies have current monitoring tools at their disposal, and a lot of companies have already paid for these solutions. And I know you touched on it before, but I just hope you could go over it again and just tell us how easy it would be for Control Center to integrate with these monitoring tools that customers already have in place.
Sure. And you're absolutely right. There are many different types of system management tools out there. IBM certainly offers some of those as well. But those tools generally focus more on system health. They'll tell you that an application is running, or they'll tell you that the server is up and running. And as I've mentioned in the earlier remarks, Control Center really takes a different approach, that we know, we all agree there are vital business processes that depend on managed file transfer. So we really took that approach as far as the capabilities with Control Center. But again, recognizing that Control Center needs to operate within a broader environment, we can easily integrate with other system management tools. It can be a very simplified interface using like an SNMP type interface to send traps or events to another system management tool, or it could be a more sophisticated way of doing it, a more tightly integrated way of doing that, leveraging some of the APIs that we provide with Control Center. So I think this is a great area that we'd want to work with Trustlink and work with clients, that we could do some do some deeper level discovery to make sure we capture the use case, and then we can collectively determine how to solve that and what the right integrations are that would be required.
Okay, great. So understanding the business benefits and integration, would Control Center assist with SLA improvement and availability due to, say, system outages or planned work that has been done? Regarding the tools, the rules that you mentioned before, can we set custom rules per connection or per customer to give us a visibility on issues that might come up?
Yeah. Beginning with, it was about 2 years ago that I think 2.5 years ago, we did a major release of Control Center. And the whole focus of that release was to really rethink rules and alerts, because previously we'd had more of an IT focus, where the way that you'd set up a rule, it was a bit more technical. It would make more sense to someone in the IT department. But with that change that we made, we recognized that wasn't enough. So we had a lot of focus around more of the business user, because we recognize that there's people within an organization that might have responsibility for a customer relationship, and they want to make sure that their particular business processes or file transfers are all going smoothly and no issues. So we really reoriented or added an additional way to think of Control Center to gear it towards those line of business users. So there's a very, and I mentioned this just slightly in the presentation, that there's a feature called Monitor This, where a business user can very simply, with a few mouse clicks, keying in some minimal information, they could set up a customer-specific, business process-specific rule that can then watch for certain things that would be relevant for that line of business user. However, we do have the controls in place, so IT can maintain control over that as well. I mentioned earlier, you don't want a lot of rogue rules firing off. You want to have some controls in place, and you don't want to duplicate things. So there's a workflow that's built around it as well. But I love that question. Yes, absolutely, is that we want to address both the IT users' requirements as well as the business user requirements.
Okay, great. So essentially this would alleviate, as a support person, you get a lot of emails that come in for things that are being monitored. So this would probably just alleviate all the getting inundated with support emails that aren't really relevant to you, because a lot of the times support emails get thrown to the side and not actually even checked. So with this process, you should be able to just get specific alerts for specific customers and know that it is business critical.
Well said. I agree with that completely. And you're right. This flood of email, sometimes things might slip through the cracks. The other piece of that, though, and I failed to mention this, is that for those line of business users, if they're like most of us, and I'm definitely like this, I like more self-service type capabilities. I'd rather look for it myself and get my own answer rather than opening a help desk ticket or sending that email that might get lost or delay. I would much rather be able to solve it on my own. So that was the other piece of what we did with Control Center, is to really make it more of a self-service type solution where the limited IT resources don't have to get bogged down on some of those tasks.
That's great. So last question from my side. You spoke about Control Center Director earlier on. Control Center Director would essentially integrate with your current control center. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right.
Because we do have a couple, well, we have a few Connect Direct customers. So essentially, if a customer has certificates expiring at some point, we would get notifications of these certificates. And instead of having to go to each customer separately, we could essentially use Control Center Director to just connect to, or set up a job to connect to each and every single customer and update certificates.
That's a great use case, and that's an out-of-the-box capability that we provide with Control Center when it's used with Connect Direct with Secure Plus. So it can be configured basically to start generating alerts well before the expiration takes place. Since it obviously has access to that information, why not have technology and automation watch that rather than having, again, to your earlier point, proactive versus reactive? How much worse would it be if the certificate was allowed to expire, and then you're dealing with a production outage versus proactively and dealing with it that way? Absolutely. That's a great use case that we can solve with Control Center.
Oh, that's great news.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. Due to time constraints, we're not going to be taking any questions, but we will definitely get back to the questions via email or on a call. We are also very excited to announce that we're going to have our next webinar, which will be around Sterling File Gateway. So please keep an eye out for the invites that you'll receive shortly. Then, as Dirk mentioned, we would like to move to the next step, which will be to get a better understanding on how Control Center will actually add value within your environment. Please reach out to us to discuss a POC for your company, or we'll also do an enablement workshop to determine exactly what your requirements are. Then I would just like to say thank you to all of you for joining this afternoon. We are looking forward to moving this forward to the next steps. And please stay safe and enjoy the rest of your week.